Anyway, let's get back to Buttfeld now.
Salutes. He's a Nazi. When Trump said find people, he's a racist. When Trump said bloodbath, he meant violence. There are thousands of examples of this, and they're always wrong. Tim was incredibly patient with this. And all he kept saying to her is, I don't know what he was thinking. How would I know what he's thinking? That's how you deal with it.
So, Shannon, I mean, the Democrats are thinking that maybe it was their social media presence that didn't win them the elections. But Joe Rogan said they had him until they didn't.
And the thing is, they're right to recognize that these podcasters became super powerful. We saw the influence of them. But when you try to say, okay, let's go out in a lab, as you said, and create our person, our Joe Rogan of the left or whatever it is. First of all, these podcasters do not like the really powerful ones, popular ones, to be siloed. They're not all Republican. They're not all Democrat or liberal or conservative. They don't like to be pigeonholed at all. But you can't create something that younger people feel is authentic. Like you said, they want authenticity. That's what we keep hearing from young people. And if it's about who's out there shilling for you, the vice president, former vice president, had the biggest stars in all of culture. I mean, when you've got Oprah and Beyonce and all these people showing up for you, if that didn't work, that's not going to solve the problem. There's this Democratic data firm today called Catalyst that put out all of these terrible numbers of what happened to Democrats in the fall. They lost with younger voters, men, voters of color, infrequent voters. They said the results were so bad that for the first time since they've been crunching all this data, that younger, infrequent, and new voters who tend to shift to Democrats, they were at less than 50%.
I mean, she's right, by the way. People are going, Oprah. Dude, this is why I laugh whenever dumb fucks like Ethan try to be like, Hassan is the reason why Kamala Harris lost. That is the absolute dumbest fucking position. That is the absolute dumbest fucking position you can arrive at. You know someone's right-wing pivot has started when they start defending pedophilia? What?
Matter.
Oh, my fucking Lord. Okay, listen. Listen. When dumb fucks like Ethan or any number of different dumb fucks are like, oh, Hassan, are you happy? You caused Kamala Harris to lose. Do they not fucking understand that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris? Do they think I have more power than fucking Taylor Swift? It's not even just the fact that old media no longer has the same relevance as new media. This is true. New media has a lot more relevance. But the point I was trying to make with my tweet was exactly this, which is that if the multi-billion-dollar apparatus of mainstream media that is slanted towards liberalism cannot carry the Democrats across the finish line, and that does overall have a lot more fucking power and prominence. Legacy media does have a lot more power and prominence than, the podcast orbit or whatever. If they can't do this, why the fuck would a couple podcasters be able to change that? You do, man. Who gives a fuck about their political opinion? No, you are deluding yourself. I'm not saying I have no influence. I'm saying that I cannot outflank the Democratic Party's positions. And the very fact that they're out there looking for a liberal Joe Rogan, when in fact Joe Rogan was the liberal Joe Rogan, and they fucking yelled at him for being the liberal Joe Rogan who endorsed Bernie Sanders, and they also yelled at Bernie Sanders, should clue you in on some of the major failures of the party in the way that they communicate. They consistently go in the reactionary slant after elections on issues that they are actually supposed to combat on. They don't know how to fight back on issues like trans issues, for example. They don't know how to fucking they don't know how to actively fight back on shit like this. The real way to deal with trans issues is to deflect away and recognize it as the distraction that it actually is, the red herring that it actually is. The method is simple. I say it all the time. I told Theo Vaughn this as well when we had that conversation. He was blown away by it, where he's like, I never thought about it like that. When I said your landlord is not a Guatemalan migrant, okay? Your boss is not a trans person. these are the real people that are and the real systems that are causing harm in your life. And the Republicans do a very good job of taking all that resentment that you experience on a daily fucking basis, going through the trials and tribulations of being a fucking cog in the machine of capitalism, and they turn around and present much more vulnerable enemies to distract you away from the real problem, the super wealthy and fucking corporations. Also, even if your boss was a trans person, or even if your landlord was an undocumented migrant, they wouldn't be shitting on you because they're trans or an undocumented migrant. They would be shitting on you as your landlord. They would be shitting on you as your boss. That's it. It's the structural problems that we must clear, but the Democrats never address those structural inequalities. And instead play this like incredibly weird role where even when they are defending certain marginalized identities, they do it in this like incredibly cynical fashion where it's just a deflective shield, just like Israel says, you know, you're anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel. Democrats will be like, oh, I guess you're transphobic. I guess you're homophobic. I guess you're racist for hating the Democratic Party. And then you ask them if you're gay or trans or a migrant or related to undocumented migrants. You're like, well, what are you doing for them? They go, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and vote for us. What a stupid way to try and win support. It's insane. For the past couple of decades, they've just simply adopted the framework of you have to vote for us or else the alternative is significantly worse. And while the alternative is significantly worse, more and more people will go, all right, I'm still not voting. Fuck you. And there's nothing you can do about it. The Joe Rogan of the left.